you. Wait a minute, don't I get a hug? Come on.
I'm so sorry. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Isn't she wonderful? My life has changed because of Vanessa. I have to just say, before I start, I just have to say, this isn't my 10 second, don't count yet. I just have to say, Vanessa, I was a spokesperson for the ADA. My daughter wanted to get a business, and she wanted me to speak for her business. And we went to Vanessa's meeting, and she got me all started. She got my website done and everything. And that was like in 2018 or 19, and like everything. And I've had so much fun with it, and it's all because of her. So thank you very much. Okay, you can start now. Okay. We all believe, most of us anyway, that we left the playground back in 6th grade, right? And that the mean girls at the high school lunch table were just a horrible memory from high school, and that was it. Well, surprise, human behavior is just that. It's human. And those negative emotions and negative actions that drove people when we were young still drive us now, but in a much more subtle form. We're a lot more sophisticated. And it occurs within our personal relationships, it occurs in our families, and it occurs in the workplace. So bullies, cliques, and the lunchroom politics of our childhood carry through to the dental office, and there's not a good result. It causes lots of chaos. So let's go take a look. How does your office measure up? How are things going in your office? Do you ever see preferential treatment by maybe one person to another? How about information hoarding, where you hoard information as a power grab, right? The whisper networks, the ones on the side, usually by the autoclave, and when certain people walk by, it stops. The whisper networks. And then selective teamwork. Selective teamwork, where when your friend, one member of your little clique, needs some help, you will run back and help. But if somebody else needs help, maybe not so much. It's selective. Is this quiet? Is this something nobody notices? Heck no, everybody notices. And it hurts, it's painful. And then my favorite, the backhanded comment. Mary, you're on time today. Oh, isn't that wonderful? We're so glad you're here. Yay, Mary. But the good news is that behavior can change, but we have to name it, we have to face it, and we have to fight it. So this is not just a rumor. This is a documented epidemic. 75% of the workforce, according to Forbes magazine, reports being bullied at work, and it continues within the dental field. But we just don't like to talk about it because we're adults and we're sophisticated, and it's kind of embarrassing when we point it out, right? So how is your office doing? What's going on with the dental drama in your office? If we take a look at that, if we take a look at your office and we break it up, you're going to find really that the playground rules that we had as kids still survive. Now, I'm not just talking about any playground rules. I'm going to talk about the playground rules of the generation that is the most resilient, the baby boomers. Well, okay, I'm calling us most resilient. I don't know about the research, but we've been written off. We're old. People don't always listen to us anymore, but we learned a lot of stuff on the playground that was very valuable. So let's take a look at some of the games that we used to play. First of all, Foursquare. I went to a small school, St. Hugh's, Greenbelt, Maryland, and there were 8 girls in the class. I don't know how many boys because we just didn't seem to notice them. We were just kind of separated, but there were 8 girls. And on the playground, every day, Foursquare was the first thing we got into. And in Foursquare, 3 of the girls were kind of the queen bees. You know them. They kind of ruled the roost. They were always gorgeous and pretty, and they were the queen bees, and they would play Foursquare with each other and try to keep each other in, right? The rest of us were kind of the misfits, right? The other four, we were kind of the misfits. And one girl, however, Judy, was sometimes a queen and sometimes a misfit. And she never knew until foursquare time on the playground, which meant the three queen bees. Now, I don't know why we let them do that, but they would just walk up and they'd take their places and the rest of us would stand there, right? Crazy. But we would do that, and the queen bees would stand there, and Judy would be the fourth square. And Judy would find out that day whether she was in or out, depending on how they treated her. If they lobbed her the beautiful little, nice lob to keep them all in, she was in and she was a queen and she was happy. But sometimes they would like throw a rocket at her and knock her right out. And she knew she was out, and it was horrible for her. She never knew whether she was in or she was out. I always knew I was a misfit. I knew where I stood. I was fine. And she would go out. Now, for us, we kind of liked, I hate to say it to Judy, but it's kind of good for us if she was a misfit, because if she wasn't, we would never get in, because they would just play with each other, right? We'd just kind of stand there like idiots. Why didn't we go make our own foursquare game? But we did that on the outside. But if she was a misfit, they would knock her in, and then we would get a chance to play. And we got to be really good, because we never got easy lobs. We were always getting rockets and missiles sent to us all the time. So every once in a while, we would advance from the first square, and we'd get somebody out, and then we get to the next square, and they'd all be trying to, sometimes we get the next person out. And every once in a while, very rarely, I think it was once, all four of us, all four of the misfits got in at the same time. And it was glory on the playground. We had a glory day on the playground that day. But what did we learn from that? We learned a few things. First of all, we learned that everyone deserves a square. We shouldn't leave anyone out. In your office, nobody should be left out. Everybody deserves a square. And we need to include people because it builds loyalty. In a day when it's hard to keep staff, you need to include loyalty, include everybody. Shared goals beat the secret clubs. If we are all in this together and our goal is to take care of that patient, and we work together to take care of that patient, we're going to have a much more successful and productive office. And cheer for the underdog. Sometimes that person that just nobody notices, sometimes that person, something good happens to them, and we need to cheer them on. We need to be supportive of people when they're having difficulty, because that's one of the best ways to build loyalty, is for people to think you have their back. The next game was Red Rover. Does anyone remember Red Rover? Red Rover. Okay, Red Rover. We would hold hands, and the person would come and run down. We'd just try to hang on, and sometimes we'd fall over, and sometimes they'd fall over. And it was kind of a rough game. It's actually, it's illegal now. You can't play Red Rover in schools. But we played Red Rover because we were tough. We were baby boomers. We were tough. Okay, so what did we learn from Red Rover? Well, strength comes from holding hands. We'd hold hands together, and we would be stronger. As a team, you're stronger when you hold hands. Also, weak links create openings. We always knew which side to go to, which link was the weakest. And in our offices, we have to realize that if there is a weak link, we need to identify it and train it. If there's a weak link in our system, we need to identify it and correct it, because weak links will sink the ship. And anticipate the challenge together. When someone started running for us in Red Rover, we would all stand together and hold on. Anticipate as a team when you're having challenges. Then there's dodgeball. Now, this isn't the dodgeball of today. Any of you who might be a little bit older, maybe not as old as me, but a little bit older, many of you might remember that the dodgeball was not some little puffy red ball that would kind of bounce off. Oh, no. The dodgeball was a hard red rubber ball with V's embossed into it that would knock you down and leave a mark, a brand on your face the rest of the day. Some of us are still in therapy from that, but we'd walk around with the V on our face from dodgeball. That was a tough game back in those days. So what did we learn from dodgeball? Well, we learned know when to duck and know when to catch. Sometimes we get issues that'll come into the office. Sometimes we need to just let some of them go, right? And sometimes we need to catch them and take care of them. So we need to know when to duck and when to catch. We need to stay alert and ready. You never know. You could be going through just a great day, as you know, go through a great day, and all of a sudden, bam, something happens. And we need to celebrate our strategic comeback. Sometimes you could be left alone and be the only one there by yourself, and you can come back and win the game. And that's what we learned from dodgeball. Now, my favorite is chicken fights. Chicken fights were the best. And I grew my full height by 6th grade, and it was here because I've shrunk. So I was my full height, and my nickname was Tank. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, Tank, I'm Tank. So I was the best bottom of the chicken fights. And my partner was Nancy Gaffney. And she was skinny and strong, scrawny. She was really strong. And she would get up there, and I'd be there, and we would go together. And when we played chicken fights, we were the champions, chicken fighters. And we had 2 choices in our games. We would either win or we would be severely injured. That was it. Because we would hang on till the end, and she would go over, and we would go over together. And, we didn't fall on a thick foam rubber like they do now, right? Or the fluff, the rubber fluff in the playgrounds. It was concrete. It was concrete that doubled as a church parking lot. So when we went down hard, and we were injured. And we would have injuries on our wrist, usually, and then we'd have injuries on our knees. And, of course, this is Catholic school. We had a little skirt. And if we really were lucky, we'd get that little bit of blood that would kind of come down, remember, from the injury, and kind of go halfway down your leg, and then stop, because you didn't want to get it in your sock, because then you had to clean it. But it stop right there, and we kind of dry it there a little bit to keep it there. And then there'd be a big glob of bright red blood. And then when you came back into the classroom, because getting injured on the playground those days was just you were in the glory days. You come back in the classroom like this, and everybody would, you'd wave, okay, look, I'm injured. And people thought, wow, Kim, you're tough. You are a tough Tank. Tank is tough. You were tough. So that's what we did. And in chicken fights, so what did we learn? We learned a few things. Own the fall. Whose fault was it that we came in injured from the chicken fights? It was the stupid kid that did chicken fights on a cement playground, right? It was our fault. We didn't sue the school. The teachers didn't have to worry. It was on us. It was our fault. We need to own the fall, right? Success requires trust. Nancy and I hung on to each other to the bitter end. We either fell together or we won together. And falls happen. We got to laugh. Things can sometimes happen. Sometimes you lose, you lose a little bit of your train of thought. Things happen. We screw up. I screw up a lot. And the older you get, the more you screw up. Things happen. We have to laugh about it. We have to laugh as a team about it. We have to accept each other for it. And we have to realize that things do happen and mistakes are made and they're inevitable. And as a team, we can't blame each other. We have to laugh together. And so what did we learn from the playground about team building? Well, playground rules are pretty universal. Play fair, play hard, play together. And if we can bring that same spirit into our dental teams, we can realize that conflicts become growth. Cliques can become full connection. If your clique is your entire team, that's a good thing. And work can be something worth smiling about. So we never really left the playground as adults. It just developed walls, and we have to learn how to play better within those walls. Thank you.